We'd like to welcome Luke Donald and Camilo Villegas here to the Zurich Classic in New Orleans. Luke, we'll start with you. This is your fifth start in this event in the team format. Your best finish here, T23 with Eduardo in 2023. If we get some comments on being back here in New Orleans.
Yeah, it's always fun to come here. We were talking a little bit about it walking down the fairways today. It's just a fun, different experience this week. This team atmosphere, playing foursomes, playing four balls, it's a different feel, and I think it has a great place on the tour to change up, what we do week in, week out, and the hospitality here is always great. So it's always a nice week to be a part of.
All right, Camilo, your third time in the team format. Your best finish, T14 in 2017 with Morgan Hoffman. If we can get some comments on being back here and playing with Luke.
Yeah, I got to put up with Luke this week. No, I'm kidding. Hey. No, Luke and I are really good friends. We spent a lot of time back in Jupiter. Our wives spent a lot of time together. It was one of those things, hitting balls on the range at Bears Club. And I said, hey, you want to play Zurich together? It was a quick yes, and it'll be a fun week. It'll be a little kind of family-friendly week. Zurich has done a great job over the years. I was very happy to see that they extended till 2030, so they thanks to them to supporting our great tour. Again, it's different. It's a different week. It's a week where you gotta think a little bit. I got Captain Donald here next to me, so he's taking care of all the stats and all this stuff and what we should do, which is good. And hey, I'm really looking forward. I'm really looking forward to having a good energy week, having a fun out there, and trying to play some good golf.
All right, we're glad to have you guys here as a team. We'll open it up to questions. If you'll raise your hand, we'll get a microphone to you. Yep, start with Brody.
You can just cross, it's fine. Yeah.
Hey, you gotta give me one of these ones.
Well, I mean, you joke about Captain Donald having all the stats and whatnot. Yeah, what is that dynamic of kind of like how you guys are playing off each other, and kind of what's your dynamic just being out there?
Well, I don't know if I have all the stats. This week's a little different to most weeks because of the format. So ShotLink doesn't have all the shots like you would of a regular event. But, there's certain things over the time you've played here. The even holes are usually the guy who's a bit better driver. There's some good iron holes, par threes, for the odd holes. So it's a nice mixture, this course. I'm sure most of the players would know all that stuff out there. But, it's just more about having a good time, having a good partner. Our wives are going to be both here out, which is unusual, actually, that they don't travel as much as they used to. So, again, it's going to be a kind of a fun week, and hopefully we can play some good golf as well.
Is that the norm here? That kind of, this is a week where you notice other players, wives or family might come a bit more because it's a different dynamic?
I think so, a little more team. Also, people love New Orleans. It's a great place to come, visit, have some nice meals, and like I said, Zurich has done a great job with this event and making it fun for us. In our case, kind of funny story. I mean, we got a good pairing too. We got Charlie Hoffman and Nick Wadney. Where the four of us are on the older side. I don't think any other group is going to be older than us out there. So I quickly got my tee time. I do this little text message with Luke, Charlie, and Wadney, and then like 20 minutes later, I find out that the girls did a chat together too. So the four of them were together. Everybody's going to be here, so it'll be fun out there. It'll be a good.
We'll share some stories, and we go way back with Nick and Charlie as well. So should be a fun group.
All right, Dave.
Cool. At this point in your guys' careers, how do you balance out what you're trying to do inside the ropes for your own games, and then also balancing the responsibilities you have with Luke, your team, obviously, Camilo, you've been involved with the President's Cup. How do you work those two things potentially at the same time?
Yeah, personally, I've struggled a little bit. I've decided, to play a little bit of a smaller schedule this year, and playing 1 week and having 2 or 3 weeks off, and then playing 1 week. It's a difficult dynamic to keep the momentum going through the competitive sort of momentum you get from playing 2 or 3 weeks in a row. But I'm certainly enjoying being Ryder Cup captain again. It's great this week to see so many Europeans here. Obviously, a little bit of a dynamic from the alliance we have and the 10 cards. It seems like more and more Europeans are coming and playing, and be interesting to see how they do. I'll certainly be keeping an eye. I had a few conversations early in the year about potential partnerships amongst some of these Europeans that thought that might work. But outside of that, I'm really, once Thursday goes off, I'm just here to play as good as I can and hopefully make some good swings for my partner.
In my case, it has been one of my main goals for the year is to be more efficient. Why? Because I got a lot of stuff on the table. I mean, just not only playing, but the family stuff, the foundation stuff, and then being involved with the PGA Tour board. So there is quite a lot of stuff, but it can all be done. I've been having a lot of fun and learning in all the new things I'm doing, which is great. But yes, you have to be more aware of your time, your schedule. You keep getting better and better with the calendar, the family, the this, the that, and it's you got to juggle it around. But it's part of life. That's what we do.
Luke, I know with the qualification system, the way that the European Ryder Cup team has it set up, guys get points if they're paired with another European player, which obviously is encouraging them to do that. You've got a number of players who are relatively high up on the point list at this point. There's a long way to go, but how much, you sort of mentioned that you had spoken with some players potentially getting together. How much can you encourage guys, realistically, given everybody's schedule, to come and compete in an event like this where there's a long way to go between now and Bethpage, but I would imagine it can be beneficial to sort of see how people, relationships, things work out at this point?
Yeah, it's another opportunity to play some sort of team golf, to play some foursomes, which is a format we don't play very often. Certainly at the Team Cup early in the year, in January, there was some chats sort of during that week about possible guys playing with who, and whether they would want to play in the Zurich. So again, I don't like to tell them what to do. That's certainly not my place. Their schedule, they need to do what's best for them individually and where they feel like they're going to perform at their best. But certainly, I'll send the odd friendly text. Are you thinking about playing Zurich? Who are you playing with? Maybe if you want, play with this guy. There's a little bit of that going on because I think it's another opportunity to sort of find a partner that you might feel very comfortable with and find a little bit of comfort in foursomes, which is a very uncomfortable kind of format.
All right, Scott. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Brody.
Luke, strangely, another points-related question, but now that you're 2 cycles into this, I'm just curious, have you kind of gathered any opinions on your own on the qualifying system? And, maybe a guy wins a major 18 months before the Ryder Cup and he's getting a ton of points for that. Or have you kind of formed any opinions on the point system, and do certain things maybe gain too much, too little? I'm not sure.
Yeah, we always take a look at our points schedule and try and figure out the best way to create the strongest team. Our point system is only a year from, pretty much a year worth of points. It started at the British Masters, I think, last year, and that's where it finishes. So, we look very highly at. So we don't count any majors the year before. So it's all in this year for us. Which is important. We want current form, but we want to give more more points to those bigger events with a stronger field. So we think we have it pretty good. I think 6 and 6 works well to again form the strongest team we can possibly have.
All right, Scott.
Look, it'll probably please you to know that when Rory and Shane were in here, Rory mentioned how winning at Bethpage would really cap off the year. So obviously they're already thinking about that. But you got to be thinking about European players playing a lot more of this kind of golf than American players, foursomes and four balls, stuff like that. Do you think this has been something that has been an edge for the Europeans throughout the years in the Ryder Cup?
Well, I certainly think it's helped. It's something we grew up with as juniors. We play quite a lot of matches within county matches, within country versus country in that format. But once you turn professional, you don't really play a lot. So I mean, it's something you've grown up with as a junior, but some of these guys haven't probably played in that format for many years. So it's nice again to have an event like this where they kind of get to refresh some of those memories. And there's little things that you can do in match play. It's not match play, but it's foursomes. Things to think about, encouraging your partner, just little reminders that might remind them from stuff that they did when they were juniors. But I'm not sure how much of a benefit that is in the long run, because most of these guys, would have gone quite a few years without playing that from junior golf.
Dave?
Camilo, I'm not sure if this sort of urban legend is true or not, but I had heard that your yardage books were used by the University of Florida team for a few years after you had left because you were so detail-oriented and kept such copious notes about that. Is that true?
It is true, yeah.
But with that in mind,
Yeah.
how much do you sort of observe your partner, in this case, Luke? I know you guys have a very good relationship.
Yeah.
You've been a vice captain, been involved with President's Cup in a number of different ways. What do you look at how he has handled the situation the last couple of years that you may want to sort of scribble or file away for yourself, for an opportunity to sort of lead a team yourself in the future? What do you see in him that you can learn from?
Trust me, I'm always picking his brain. I'm always asking questions about Ryder Cup. I was supposed to be in Rome last year. Unfortunately, I had to cancel the last minute. I will be there this year. Just both Luke and Keegan are great friends. I think it's a good opportunity to see just being involved with President's Cup. It's important to go to a Ryder Cup. I mean, Ryder Cup is huge. I want to experience it being there, watching two of my good friends, and then a lot of the other players just battle it out. And back to your question, I always pick Luke's brain. I always ask him what they're doing. We've discussed our previous 2 President's Cups, being involved in assistant captain, what we did, what can we do better, and stuff like that. I'm hoping to continue to be involved with President's Cup, and yes, hopefully in the future, if I can be a captain of one of the teams, it will be an absolute honor for me. It's a really fun week of every 2 years, and when Trevor gave me the call, it was a blessing. When Weirzy gave me a call, it was fun, and I'm just trying to keep learning. And Luke has done such a great job. I mean, I've watched it firsthand, how many books he's read, how much time he's spent, how much less golf he's played just because he wants to do what he calls his true job which he did back in Rome, and I'm sure he's going to do a great job again. So we keep learning of each other.
Would you call the job being Ryder Cup captain fun? Or being a Ryder Cup week as being fun?
Yeah, it's fun when you're lifting that trophy, but there's a lot of pressure, there's a lot of anxiety. It's, most nights you're getting 4 hours of sleep. It's just a lot. There's so much going on. That's why, for me, and I'm sure Camilo is the same, preparation is key. Making sure before you even get there that week that you have pretty much a good idea of what to do, and you have a plan A and you have a plan B and maybe a plan C if things aren't going the way you want. So, that's where the lead up for this whole 18 months, 2 years, that's the build up to try and get myself in a position where I feel reasonably prepared. You never can be totally prepared, but I feel like I certainly feel more confident and more calm the more prepared I am, and that's why I try and put in the work. But it's still a very stressful environment, and New York playing away will be really stressful. But again, we're going to go. It's a very tough challenge to win a Ryder Cup. We know that it's never easy. The U.S. will certainly be looking for revenge from Rome, and they will be a tough team to beat.
All right, back to Scott.
Camilo, I was intrigued to see that the PGA Tour Americas is playing this week in Quito, Ecuador, and the elevation there is 9,350 feet. The elevation here is 2. What is the? Have you? I'm just wondering if you had any stories or anecdotes about playing in South America or elsewhere at some really high elevation. How different is it from playing at sea level?
Yeah, very different. I mean, I grew up in Medellin, Colombia, which is about 2,000 meters above sea level, but the highest I've played was in Bolivia, in La Paz. We played a South American Championship there, and it is, I forget how high it is, but it is high. And I think technology these days allows us to be a lot more precise when it comes to elevation. I think there's all kinds of different formulas and trackmans and stuff like that where you can kind of get to get on point with how far the ball goes. But yeah, you got to control your trajectory a little bit different there. I mean, the low shots don't travel as far. High shots travel forever. It's fun. It's different. Ball goes very straight. But yeah, I mean, I've been blessed to play all over the world, and including in a lot of tournaments in South America. And Quito is up there. Had a chance to play there, and yeah, I mean, just hoping the PGA Tour Latin America keeps growing, and we keep just bringing more players from that region to the Korn Ferry, and then following to the PGA Tour. And hey, it's nice to see just kind of the Latin flavor out here.
All right. Anything else? All right, gentlemen.
Time
thank
to
you for your
practice.
time.
Rings.
All right. Ball up.